What if I told you that a secret founder of America worked behind the scenes building a spy network that would change the war? Today, we will discover the man who secretly shaped America's fight for freedom. Following the death of Nathan Hale, it took a while for an American intelligence group to actually be set into motion. We discussed the story of Nathan Hale in the first episode of this series, so if you haven't watched it yet, you should totally check it out. But it wasn't until late 1778 that General George Washington tasked Benjamin Tallmadge with creating a spy ring to provide key intel to the Continental Army. Benjamin Tallmadge was born in 1754 to a sophisticated family. He was expected to be both knowledgeable and intellectual. When Tallmadge was around 12, the president of Yale University said that he was qualified to attend the college, although he didn't attend Yale until a couple of years later. While he was at Yale, he bonded with a young man of the similar stature. The young man was none other than Nathan Hale. Benjamin Tallmadge graduated in 1773, and he wrestled with himself over whether he should join the army, specifically after the battles of Lexington and Concord. During this time, Tallmadge spent a brief stint as a schoolteacher. He ended up finally joining the army in June of 1776 as a lieutenant. He fought in the battles of Long Island and White Plains. Unfortunately, though, we learn that Tallmadge knew that his older brother William had been taken prisoner during the Battle of Long Island and starved to death. By December of 1776, Tallmadge was promoted to the rank of captain, and he got promoted again in April 1777 to major. Major Tallmadge fought in a couple more battles before his focus shifted towards spying. In November of 1778, after General Washington gave Tallmadge his directive, he began to devise a plan and a system that would give the colonies the upper hand for the rest of the war. Benjamin Tallmadge put together a team that consisted of Abraham Woodhull, Caleb Brewster, Anna Strong, Robert Townsend, and a couple others. All except for Townsend had grown up with Tallmadge. Tallmadge knew he could trust these people and gave them each a role in communicating the information. But how did these spies save the revolution? Well, here is the Culper Ring's biggest story. Real quick though, we are trying to reach 200 subs by the end of the year, so if you could hit that subscribe button, it would help us out a ton. In 1780, the Revolutionary War had come to somewhat of a stalemate. America and Great Britain had been fighting for a solid 5 years, and there were no major changes or shifts in the war at this point. England came to realize this, and that is why they shifted their sights to the south. The Redcoats had been able to claim Charleston, South Carolina, and it was considered one of America's worst losses. Not because of the city, but because of what was in the city. There were 5,400 American soldiers that were either killed or captured, and a good amount of those who were captured died in captivity. But it was about this time that France had agreed to send aid in the form of weapons and soldiers to help America win the war. But the British had spies too, and their intelligence had told them that the French supplies were arriving in Newport, Rhode Island. General Washington wrote Benjamin Tallmadge requesting information on the British commander's troop movements. The commander's name was Sir Henry Clinton. Sir Clinton was the same man that led British forces to capture Charleston, South Carolina in the battle I just mentioned. Washington was hoping to be able to exploit some aspect of Sir Clinton's strategies with the French forces. Major Tallmadge passed on the information to Robert Townsend, who was the main informant. Robert Townsend had discovered that the British were going to attack the French forces shortly after they landed, and he sent a coded message written in invisible ink to Tallmadge. But the problem was that the French had already landed. On July 10, 1780, General Rochambeau and his soldiers docked in Newport, Rhode Island. The clock was ticking, but the message had to make it to Newport. On July 25th, the message got delivered. Although it is unknown when, around this time, Washington launched a fake siege on New York to prevent Clinton from attacking Newport. He put soldiers on a hill that could be clearly seen from New York City. He also let fake battle plans fall into the hands of the British. It worked, to an extent. Sir Clinton did end up calling off the attack, but there are multiple reasons for that. Whether it was Washington's threatening plan or a lack of information, because some historians say Clinton did not know when the French were going to land until after they had already landed. American reinforcements were safe, but the true brilliance of the Culper Spy Ring isn't talked about enough. The system the spies use are considered to be incredibly sophisticated for their time. Whether it was putting certain outfits on a clothesline to communicate, or riding horseback for miles just to deliver a message, each person played a critical part. Tallmadge had written codes for 700 separate words, and Washington had provided invisible ink to all the supplies in order to communicate discreetly. And mind you, the invisible messages were written on the back of real letters that meant absolutely nothing. All the spies had near perfect alibis that worked well with their actual lives. But even with all the success, Tallmadge is still not remembered. Why? I don't know that there was one particular reason, but the fact that the ring was kept top secret is most likely a key reason. After the war, Tallmadge went on to become a successful businessman and spent a brief period of time as a congressman. History is cruel and unforgiving sometimes, but that is why it is all the more important that these stories get told. Benjamin Tallmadge built the foundation for American espionage, but soon after the war, America faced a threat from within. Laws were passed that jailed people just for speaking their minds. Do you want to know what happened? Well, click here to find out.